Hey everybody, so I'm making a video on doing the SMA mod for the Sennheiser belt packs. This will work on any of the G2, G3, G4, or 2000 series belt packs. You can do it on the transmitters or receivers. It does kind of two things. It improves the reception and transmission a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, an extra 10% or so. And then also it lets you have a removable antenna so that you can stow them away nicely. The antennas last longer, and then if you have one, let's say that, gets all beat up, it's pretty easy to replace. Whereas the factory antennas, they can sometimes get a little beat up. If something's beat up like this, you might want to replace it. The Sennheiser antennas, these cost like, I don't know, $7 or $8. So it's not, a ton of money to replace them, but if you're replacing them, may as well do this mod, and, I'll show you how you can do it yourself for under $30, or you're welcome to reach out to me, and I do this over mail order, so you can ship them to me, and I'll bang them out and get them back to you. So there's a couple different videos that are going around online that involve like using a Dremel to like use this circular connector and kind of Dremel it out so it fits in the case. I found these guys right here. I just found them on eBay, and they're like, I don't know, 50 cents or $1 a piece, and probably actually less than that. I think for maybe $30 you can get 100 packs, so they're maybe 30 cents a piece. And there's a couple different models they make. I get the one that's a little bit longer, and it really just fits in the pack very nicely. So this is a part that you need. I'll see about linking it below so that you don't have to get a Dremel out and do any weird sort of dremeling. This one just fits really well in the case. What we're gonna do here, the first step is we're gonna cut all these feet off. These kind of go flying sometimes. I kind of got a nice pair of snips here. And those went flying, but that's okay. Not worried about it. And we're just leaving the center pole here for us to solder to. And then I'll get the vise out here. The soldering iron is heating up. And this is gonna go in here. Great. And then what I do is I use just like mic cable wire. You don't really need any sort of like 50 ohm wire or anything like that, because it's, going to the antenna. So it's just, this is 0 ohms anyway. So if your antenna is 50 ohms, this is just 0 ohms as it is. So what I'm gonna do, put a little solder here on the SMA bit, strip the end of the wire, put some solder on that. Okay. Gonna cut this nice and short. Right, and just solder that wire to the SMA connector. The next thing we're gonna do is we'll cut this off. And what I found to be a really good magic number is cutting this so that it's 3/4 of an inch. So I'm gonna just use this 1 inch mark here, and I'm gonna cut that so it's right at 3/4 of an inch. As you see there, I'm adding an inch, 3/4 of an inch, but I don't trust this here. So just add in an inch, so that's 3/4 of an inch. Then I'm going to strip a little more of this off, like so. And I'll tin this wire here. Okay, good to go. And then I'm gonna get a little piece of heat shrink. I'm gonna cut the heat shrink to like, I don't know, maybe a quarter of an inch. Maybe that's like 3 or 4 millimeters, maybe 5 millimeters if you're not in the US. And I don't have my heat gun with me, so we're gonna do this dirty here and just go with a lighter and heat shrink that down. I'll kind of pinch it so it doesn't move, make sure it's clamped down all the way. So then that's pretty much the piece we're gonna put in the connector, put in the pack. Yeah. The next thing we'll do here, so we have a belt pack here. This is a Sennheiser 2000 series IEM belt pack. And as you can see, it is kind of jacked up with the antenna. So I'm gonna take the batteries out, and some of these packs, definitely like the later ones that are G3, G4, you know, the later packs, they'll have this strip right here. You kind of need to just score this strip. It's just a piece of tape or something that holds it together. Might kind of be like a tamper-proof thing, just to show the pack was not tampered with. And that'll let you break it apart once you have the screws undone. Then we're gonna get another little screwdriver. This looks like a T9. So all of these G2, G3, G4, and Sennheiser, the G2, G3, G4, and 2000 series all take the T9 bit on the outside. The G2s have a smaller bit on the inside, so just know that you'll need an additional bit for that. Do this, you kind of kick this to the side here. Okay. The other thing is you can push this into the side here. There's this little bar. Let's see if this works here. It holds this door in place. So pull the door out, and then I like to use the door to hold all the screws. So you can put the little bar in there, and then you should be able to pull the back piece off. So it just comes apart just like this. Then this screw here, this is the only one that you need to undo, this one at the corner. On the G2, this is a different size. It's not a T9, but G3, G4, and 2000 series, it's all a T9. So there's some other videos where people are undoing all these screws. I didn't find it necessary to do that. So when you pull this off, you want to make sure that the buttons are usually going to stick to the circuit board up here. So what I like to do is immediately just put them back in the shell, put them back on the front plate. Great, then those are ready to go once we're done here. Then I'm going to open up this vise here. Turn the headlamp on. Okay, we're gonna put this in the vise, and I'll just get a little dab of solder here on my soldering iron. And then it's really just this one little spot right here. Gonna desolder that, pull it out. You can, if you have like a desoldering gun, you can do that too if you prefer. But we're gonna just stick a piece right back in there so it's easy enough just to pull out. And then the next step is to put this connector through the hole here. Get this nice and hot, melt the solder, and just push that through like that. And that is all the soldering that you have to do. I'm gonna take this out of the vise here, and I'm gonna clip this little extra bit here. Make sure nothing's sticking out. Then this piece, the part you wanna make sure here is that the buttons are all in when you put this in. If not, if the buttons are sideways, you can damage the actual pads that the buttons press. So just make sure the buttons are all in. They all look like they're in nice and good. And slide this back into place. And this really usually just goes either way. There's sometimes it might be better like one way or the other, like spinning at 90 degrees, but for the most part, it's all the same. It's like a 95% fit. Okay, then what we want to do is take one of our screws. Be careful not to drop it. I just did that. And we'll screw this guy in here. Great, and then I'll just check the buttons, make sure the buttons are functioning properly. Great, they look fine, nothing's jacked up. And then we'll put on the back of the transmitter. Great, just put that on like that. And then we have 4 more screws. And the 4th screw here. All right, and then I'll put the door back on. Cool, and then I just like to test at this point too, that like the buttons still work, the thing powers on. Great, seems good. Buttons work, escape, yep. Okay, great, so that's all working. Take the batteries back out. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a little bit of Loctite. I'm gonna put a drop of Loctite on just the littlest amount here, just like that. These SMA connectors come with these nuts here and these washers. So I'll put one of these on it and tighten this down. And then I have this, looks like an 8mm wrench. So what I'm gonna do is grab an antenna. I'll talk about the antenna here in a minute. Kind of get that a little bit snugged on. If you see how this is kind of going this way, what I'll do is push it this way over here, and there's a little bit of play in it. So as I tighten it down, I'm gonna go push it out towards, this direction. Just so it's nice and centered. Tighten this down. The Loctite will help it from coming loose, as it will sometimes come loose. Okay, and then the next thing I'm gonna talk about here is cutting the antenna to length. So I like these Audio Root SMA antennas. There's a bunch of different kinds. There's some with right angle, some that articulate. The other brands that I've used and like are from Remote Audio. But these Audio Root ones have been working great. They were a little cheaper, but the price went up due to some tariffs, I imagine. So to 2025. So there's all kinds of tariffs. So in this, they include a handy dandy chart. So you want to look at the frequency range here. So this frequency range is 558 to 626 megahertz. Your pack might be different, but that's what this one is. And so we're going to shoot for, right around like 690 megahertz. Sorry, 590 megahertz. And you basically just line this up with the picture, like the picture shows here. And it's just an easy chart for you to cut to the right wavelength of the RF frequency. So I'm kind of just picking something right in the middle of the range. So I cut that, put the cap on. These come with other caps too, so you can make it red or green or whatever else you want to do. Cap goes on, and then that'll go on the pack. I would also recommend don't leave this antenna on here until the thread lock has dried, because then it'll be difficult to get off. But once it's dry, you put it on, and there you go. There is your brand new SMA modded Sennheiser pack. Better reception, better transmission, and as a bonus, the antennas are easier to replace and easier to, you can take the antenna off when you need to store it. So feel free to message me if you want me to do these for you. Happy to do that also, but I just wanted to share this in case anybody wanted to do this on their own. And it's simple to do. It might take you 10 or 15 minutes the first time, and then if you've done a few, they're just like 5 minutes each, so not a big deal. Okay. Another quick thing to talk about is just make sure when you're securing this in here that this wire, the red wire, what color you use, goes down this channel, because if it is on this like ledge here, the case will close and it'll kind of clamp down on the wire. So that 3/4 of an inch should be fine, that it gives you enough play that you can kind of dress that wire so it's not on the ledge and it's just right in that channel. So just another tip.